I don't think the Cavaliers should trade Donovan Mitchell. And we are in such a rush when a guy says, I'm not going to extend, to just immediately trade that player. And I think it's in part because we're always just trying to find whatever star is going to be on the trade block next. And we're always just ready to put that player in a trade machine and start working out deals and build segments around it. And we will do that here. But the whole idea of, well, trade him now or you risk him walking away for nothing. Is a full season with a really good player nothing? That's not nothing. That's definitely something. And if you're the Cavaliers, trading away your best player after a season in which you got to the second round of the playoffs, you did push the Celtics a little bit, and then Donovan Mitchell got hurt. You're not winning. You weren't going to win that series, but there's still a lot to like there, and there's other ways to sort of retool around Donovan Mitchell. Maybe you get a new coach, like whatever. You could trade Garland or Allen for pieces that just work a little bit better. Evan Mobley leveled up in this postseason, and that's not something to just forget about, and should be a factor going forward. But if the offer isn't good enough, like, it shouldn't just be Cavaliers open up the phone lines, sell Donovan Mitchell to the highest bidder. I have a rule. If you're going to trade a star talent, you better have a chance at bringing star talent back. And Austin Reeves is fine, but he ain't a star talent, dude. And it's like, if the Lakers have the best offer and it's Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and 2 first-round picks that nobody cares about in 10 years or 6-7 years from now, that's not good enough for me if I'm the Cavs. And I would rather just say, you know what? We'll call your bluff. We'll run it back for another year. We'll see what we can do. And even making it a push to the Eastern Conference Finals, getting yourself a chance to come out of the East, that is worth it. That is worth going after. And by the way, if your season tanks early in the year and you know that it's not going anywhere by January, February, you could still trade Donovan Mitchell by the trade deadline. But if I'm the Cavaliers this summer and I'm not getting a legitimate star talent back, if this isn't Paul George, trading Paul George, and I'm getting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander back, if I'm not getting something like that as a piece,
sure,
I'm cool just being like, you know what? Screw it. We'll hold on to Donovan Mitchell. And everybody's going to be, well, you risk him walking away for nothing. I'll be like, great. I don't care. We still get a full year, October to potentially June, with Donovan Mitchell playing basketball, and he's a good player.
Yeah, and I think the consideration, right, especially with the fact that the rest of this foursome of players that we know don't fit in him, Garland, Mobley, and Allen, the fact that Mobley and Garland are so young, I think, is part of what could give that front office pause, or it could give an outsider pause in just blowing that whole situation up, because it's like, well, if you were to get rid of Mitchell, you still have this kind of golden parachute for yourself. But I look at that and I say, well, I think most people, including seemingly the Cavs, based on an Athletic article that dropped right after their season ended, feel like Mitchell and Mobley is the duo, is the pairing that makes the most sense. That's what got them here in terms of winning that game 6 and 7 and being competitive through the first part of this Boston series. So you could be just as likely as Garland could pull you back out of this post-Mitchell thing if you ended up trading him. You could also be selling high on Garland and getting the last bit of value in a trade for him that you could ever get. I'm not convinced Darius Garland is going to be that thing to rescue you if Mitchell runs away. And Allen,
he's not. He's a good player. He's not a needle mover, right?
No.
Mobley,
because look what they were before, right?
Player. Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so, plus Allen, it's like he's in his prime. He's a proven commodity. I think a lot of teams would be made better by getting Jared Allen. So I think you can get decent stuff. And I think what excites me, if I'm Cleveland's front office, what excites me as a basketball fan looking at that situation, Wes, is I don't think it'll be that hard to give him next season the best situation roster-wise he's ever had in his career. Because, look, I mean, it gets into the Rudy Gobert messiness and very, big picture kind of nonsense stuff about their playoff failures that's almost not worth relitigating. But his second best player was Rudy Gobert. His second best offensive teammate was Mike Conley. Yeah. Joe Ingles at some moments, maybe Ricky Rubio at one point. I mean, the Cavaliers are positioned to pivot very easily because they have the resources, right? Yeah. They have a lot of talent on that roster. The talent just doesn't fit together. And as much as you might want to go Garland, Mobley, that doesn't make sense as we've just discussed because Garland's not a needle mover. You need 2 needle movers.
I think Mobley can be and probably is getting to that point. And then Donovan Mitchell certainly is. Dude scored 70 points in a basketball game this year, 50 points in a playoff game this year. He was the best player on the court for that Cavaliers-Celtics series when he was healthy. Like, that guy is a needle mover. And you could trade Garland. You could trade Jared Allen if that's the decision that you want to make Mobley a full-time center. By the way, Allen sidelined for that last game. Evan Mobley, 33 points against the Boston Celtics. That doesn't mean he's not going to do it every game, but the guy's got skills, and I think he plays better in space, and I think we all know that. So I got a 3-team trade for you.
Okay.
All right, and we'll do that, and then we'll move on to your take. Cleveland, San Antonio, and Washington. Cleveland gets Kyle Kuzma, Keldon Johnson, and Trey Jones. San Antonio gets Garland, and then Washington gets Jared Allen. So now if you're the Cavs, you've got Donovan Mitchell at point guard. Whether or not he signs the extension, I don't care. You're still under contract for a year. Come back, buddy. You got Mitchell at point guard, essentially. Strus at shooting guard. Keldon Johnson probably at small forward. We'll see what happens with Isaac Okoro. Does he come back or not? Maybe you could put somebody else in that spot. I like Keldon Johnson there. You got Kuzma at power forward, and then you got Mobley, and then you still got Trey Jones, Karis LeVert, Dean Wade. You got all those guys available coming off the bench for you. I kind of like that build a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the 3-team aspect of it because San Antonio, we know that they could be interested in Garland. They don't exactly have a lot of stuff that I think makes any team a lot better. They don't have a lot of salaries, so I like the Kuzma aspect. But that speaks to one of the things that I think keeping Mitchell and trading Garland can do for you is make you a bigger team. Even though, okay, yeah, you're stepping down from Allen to Mobley. I don't really care about that so much. But instead of 6'1" or whatever Garland is, 6'2" point guard and a 6'4" shooting guard, and then Strus at the 3, you just bump all that up. You get a 4-man who's a real 4-man, and suddenly you're kind of cooking. I think if Garland were to go to the Pelicans, you have some of those same options with, like, could Dyson Daniels come over or, mix and match there. They have an abundance of those types of wing players. So no matter where they go and who he ends up with, I think that's kind of sitting there for them. The Karis LeVert aspect of it is one of the things that makes this hard. Like, are they keeping him? Are they getting rid of him? That's probably not the biggest consideration.
It's another resource that you have at your disposal to keep retooling this thing too.
I'm absolutely on the same page as you, though. I don't see the point. And if he leaves, he leaves. You're the Cavs. If you don't take these swings, what are you really doing? LeBron James. It's over. You're not getting that again. So
you have to explore the Mitchell trade option. I'm not saying just shut the phone lines down, right? You don't pull the cable out of the wall. But if you're not able to trade a star talent and get something that gives you a chance at a star talent back, then you can't trade that star talent, and you're better off just letting that player walk.
And I just don't think Mitchell, with 1 year left on his contract, even if he promises to extend with the team that gets him, is good enough to get that.
He can sort of navigate his way, right? So if you look at the Brooklyn offer, they're not going to trade Mikal Bridges, but even if they did, I don't care if I'm.
But they're not going to because they want Donovan to play with Mikal, right? So
exactly.
You just
so
where
everything
are you
beyond that,
really?
It's like Cam Johnson ain't it, Cam Thomas ain't it. I don't care about your picks from Phoenix or from Philadelphia. Those are too amorphous for me to actually care about. Don't care. That doesn't give me a chance at a star talent. Miami, what is it? Like unless the Cavs are like ridiculously high on Jaime Jaquez Jr. or Nikola Jovic, it's not coming out, or Tyler Hero, which they're probably not. That's not happening there. The Lakers don't have
Reeves,
that either.
like
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does Houston come along and say, here's Jalen Green for Donovan Mitchell? Now that's something. That would be something.
Sure.
But
Sure.
unless I'm getting an offer like that I could talk myself into, then I'm just keeping him.